Hello, fun with Burgmaster. Interesting learning experience, you know. I did the wiring, of course. Installed back this switch here, which turns it on and off. What am I here with iPad? So if I want it on and off on three-phase inverter, I just pull it out or push it in. So what have I discovered with this fellow? Very intricate parts. I took this apart to check the spring. Be careful. If you're going to remove this, put a burlap bag around it or blankets and everything else. Although nothing happened with me, but be careful if you're examining the spring on this fellow. I just wanted to check it and see how it was made. I checked everything else, everything up here, high, low, medium, whatever, is fine. Did the contact switches, all of them, cleaned them, adjusted them. Also, when indexing, it's out of the rack right now. It's laying here just because I'm examining it. You want to adjust up here. A bolt behind goes in and operates a clutching mechanism. Be careful with that. Also, take note that even the wrong oil can make indexing slow or not at all. Okay. Now, at the very back here, if you put your hand around here, guess what? There's an Allen key setting. Takes a number 8 millimeter key, and you stick it in there. You need a short end here, of course. You can cut them off to actually manually index the guy. Found that out. There's not much online on these old production machines. But all in all, it's working pretty good. Got the index head over here. Let's take a close look at that. Hi, doctor. Yes, Dr. Hutchison is our patient's head on the floor. Now, here we have the head, the index head. Unlike a Warner and Swayze turret lathe, this is quite different. Okay, this is where the pin goes in and locks it in, and this here, of course, is where it spins around. They'll go click, 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 click. Through here. There's a little arm that goes in there, inside there, which the clutch mechanism will move this whole thing around. It goes in there and presses and moves it around by gears and things. It's very delicate. As I mentioned, even the wrong oil will screw it up. So be careful with that. So the whole thing comes back this way, and this activates and pushes it over to the next station. Okay? Then goes in and locks the pin and this drive mechanism, which is up here. Those things. This is to help somebody that might have one of these and doesn't know what to do in repairing it. The head comes off quite easily. One nut, and be careful with the bearings. They come out easily too. Really quick operation. There's no pins or anything, you just undo it and everything comes off and you just pull on that and it comes out. And you have access to here. Also, there's a plate on the back that you can unscrew and examine things too. Right around. Let's see, what are we? Right behind here. You'll see 4 slotted screws holding it. Yes, doctor. Oh, doctor. This electrical system, I had to figure it out, but figured it out. As you can see my work here, wire nuts. And this is a relay that moves up and down high speed when it goes all the way up. Here, also these things, you tune them up high and low, and it's a 2-speed motor. And it's all controls here. This is a control panel or control box. I removed the wire that was hanging down here. It was to light a lamp and maybe a pump. I don't really need that, so I got that out and actually put the switch up in here where I pulled the wire out, because the 3-phase is coming in here. That's the way they wired it. And this goes right directly to the switch. I use good thick 6 cables coming in here, because each phase should be shut off or on. Okay? We're happening unit major. So, here's your pin for indexing. Both of them move at the same time. Locks, and this thing turns. Can't quite turn it by hand, but if I go one around this way and move the shaft, maybe I can, or I don't know. It's very hard to get back there, but anyway, it does move. A rubber seal on it. I forget the name of what they call those things. Boot. Rubber boot.
Rubber boot on the old bugger, huh?
Yes, Carletta. Where are you hiding, Carla?
I don't know.
Really? Okay.
Oh, anyway.
She's somewhere. This comes off, by the way. Allen head screw. Lifts right off. Be careful. Adjusting height, of course, is right here. Up and down. You can hear the spring there. It's kind of weird. I'm very cautious of springs. I've encountered them especially in artillery. 3-inch 50s, 3-inch 70s, loafers, and the worst case scenario was a 98mm anti-aircraft gun, M1, Mark 1, 90mm, World War II. Some poor guy got killed by trying to take it apart with a torch. The spring was so massive that you wouldn't believe the pressure that came out of it. Pushed the piston right out the bogey down piston out. Foot in diameter more, shot the whole thing right over to the armory, which was JP Fell Armory, North Vancouver, British Columbia. 103rd Squadron Air Cadet sold the Atomic salvage for only $200. Poor guy got killed from Atomic salvage, and I inherited the gun because of phonamics. I said, you know, I know what I'm doing. I'll take it apart, blah, 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 blah. You can have the thing. We deal in hundreds of tons of metal. Every year we don't need to deal with that thing. So I got it for free and took it apart and took a third of it home. And still after the rest of it, somebody stole it on me, the buggers. Anyway, so that's Burgmaster. Beware of springs. You need all the proper gear for springs. Preferably lots of padding and lots of strong chain and come-alongs when removing any kind of spring. This is maybe a small spring, but still not like a foot in diameter or more and 1 inch thick. But even still, if it takes your face off, this thing, if you start pulling on it and do the wrong things. I took it off, put a clamp around it, and examined it, put it back together, and took the clamps off, of course. So anyway, the story of Burgmaster, Mr. Burgmaster.
Mr. Burgmaster.
I don't know any examples of big springs. Well, there's these Orlicon spring things. They'll take your head off too. So anything like that, if you got one of these things, be careful. Here's more springs. Always have backup. As you can see, this unscrews for adjustment, but if you're screwing around with something like that, it'll take your head off. And this is a piece of a 40mm Beaufort spring. See how tough that is? Okay, so a 90 mm or a 3-inch 50 or 3-inch 70 springs and other artillery springs, you gotta have the proper gear in doing it, okay? Thank you. Okay, bye.